Okay, so I guess we can kick it off. Just first of all, I'm going to ask someone to confirm that you can see me and hear me okay, and then I'm going to start. Yes, I see some thumbs up, and I'm going to take that as a yes. Well, super. First of all, happy Friday. It is already the end of the week. And what better way to wrap up the week with a great conference like the one today? Plenty of interesting sessions and people really coming together to share knowledge, challenge one another, think about new ideas, and then go back and think not just what those ideas are, but how to implement them as well. So, Drago, thank you very much. A big thanks to you for organizing this whole event. It is by no means a small feast, coordinating all the speakers and all the participants and putting together the whole organization. On the behalf of Microsoft, a big thanks to you for putting the whole organization together. So from Microsoft side, it is a real pleasure to host this keynote today. My name is Tine Petric. I'm a product marketing manager focusing on Azure. And with me today is Stephanie Thoman, focusing more on Microsoft 365. Now, beyond our titles, right, what we really do and what our responsibility is each in our respective area. We are focusing how how well Switzerland is adopting Microsoft services. That's what it is. It is individuals, schools, enterprises. We are doing our best to make sure that Switzerland works as best as it can with Microsoft solutions. Today, we are here to talk a bit about two very interesting topics. First, I'm going to walk you through on what are some of the news and how we see successful organization being very data-driven. And then Steffi is going to walk you through the latest news about Microsoft Viva. So let's get going. It wouldn't be the right kind of Microsoft presentation if we didn't start at the very beginning on a very high level, talking a bit about our mission and a bit about what it is, what Microsoft is about. And to us, when we take decisions, when we look at things, it's based on a lot of criteria, but in the end, all of them satisfy the simple principle, which is our mission to empower every person and every organization to achieve more. What I want to emphasize is that this doesn't go just for Microsoft, right? It goes for everyone that works with Microsoft solutions. It goes for everyone who is helping others. And as you can see on the slide is, and hopefully you can see it, it's not just, as our CEO says, it's not just being cool. If you work with Microsoft products, it's making others cool, which is always great to see. And what I want to say is it doesn't go just for Microsoft. It goes for everyone on the call, everyone who has been throughout the past year helping their families set up teams, helping companies put together virtual desktops and SharePoint and virtual WANs, right? When it came to working from home, there have been so many challenging things, and communities such as this one have really been there. And that has been absolutely fantastic to see. So if we go into data-driven organizations, if we start with this topic, what does it mean to be data and AI-driven organization in the first place? Well, in Microsoft, we see it as four main components. It pretty much the way it works is that data and at some stage for some companies, AI as well, becomes infused throughout the organization. And when looking at an organization, there are really four components that most of the things boil down to. So it is about empowering employees. So when you think about an insurance agent working or any frontline worker working with the customer, having the right kind of data, data that is augmented by AI, and AI that is not replacing what the worker is doing, but rather augmenting what that person does. It is about engaging customers. If we only think about an omni-channel company, or if we think about a hospital for that matter, because that has been a huge topic during COVID, a hospital that was very efficient in managing data and being very, very efficient in support. Some of them even implemented chatbots. Those organizations really went beyond and used both data that they have in their databases and services on top of that to help their clients. The third one is optimizing operations. And on this one, I'm going to focus a bit more on afterwards in a simple example. But what it really is about, it can come down to a simple thing such as predictive maintenance. Last one, and the most difficult one, it is transforming products. We hear for quite a while already that every company is a software company now. But how do you go about implementing your core products? How do you implement AI and base analytics on that? Right, that is a huge challenge. So if we think about these four components, for us, the way we define a data and AI-driven, but mainly data-driven organization is those four components coming together, being infused by data, and then pushing data into other common models that are then serving the company to be as efficient and as productive as possible. So if we go to that beginning of the journey, before we start with AI, and some organizations start with just organizing data and move afterwards to AI as such and customizing and producing it, what holds true for all of them is that if you don't have a data estate in order, it's difficult to do any kind of custom AI. And having a modern data estate boils down to three main components. So here we see data modernization on-premise, we see data modernization to Azure, and cloud scale analytics. And if you think about it, this is a Microsoft presentation, and I'm going to focus only on one of these three components. Which one do you think it's going to be? Well, it's not going to be cloud scale analytics, surprisingly. It's not going to be data modernization to Azure either. In the next few minutes, I'm actually going to talk about data modernization on premise and on the edge. So while cloud for the majority, Azure for the companies that haven't taken any steps there, it's of course the way to go. It's the first things that companies should think about. But there is one thing happening as well. We should never forget about that some companies are leaving some things on premise, and the edge is evolving at a rapid pace. So if we start by companies that already went to Azure but are leaving maybe some of the things on premise or in remote areas, what has happened in the past 5 years, if we go back at the beginning of the cloud, it was really about replicating cloud services, on-premise services to the cloud. It's like, how do you do the same thing on the cloud? But cloud is fundamentally different. The scale is infinite, so to say. So and among other components. So the approach is very different. And that's when the innovation kind of launch started and plenty of new services got introduced. And what we are realizing now is that it's not anymore about taking the on-premise services to the cloud, but rather the other way around, taking cloud services to on-premise and the edge. And their Azure Arc is our flagship product. And what we see happening, now we see the beginnings of companies taking cloud services to edge and to on-premise. But in 3-4 years, we are absolutely sure that cloud services will be the main control plane for all kind of IT operations. When we think about the edge, that's a stunning piece as well. With the advancements of 5G, we are not far away from having pretty much no disconnected areas on the face of planet Earth. And all the machines, even today we see so many machines such as cars, trains, even bulldozers in some cases are already connected, but also roads such as, so when you drive on a road can already be connected. So we see sensors everywhere. And if we go even further into the distant future, there is research being done on how to store data in DNA. Not to be worried, it's not human DNA, it's just plants. But our researchers are saying that one tree or a small piece of the tree could hold all of the world's data. How audacious is that? But this is what our industry is all about. It is about rapid evolvement. And in Microsoft, we recognize this, that cloud is one part and one very big part of the whole industry, but edge and on-premise in some cases really shouldn't have been forgotten. So this is one of the three components besides modernizing applications and databases in Azure and having the cloud scale analytics. So to put it in example, how does a company, because we talk about every company is a software company and every company is striving to be a data-driven company, how does what we've done in Microsoft, we went the other way around, going from a software company into hardware, right? So I'm going to talk a bit about the hardware products and what happened within Microsoft and how it all led to becoming more data-driven because of that. If we go back to 1983, the first Microsoft product was a mouse. If we go to 2006, we had we were competing with iPod. I'm not sure if anyone remembers Zune. Yeah, it allowed to play some MP3s and stuff. I hear it is so rare nowadays that it's considered a collector's item. But nevertheless, you can see that we didn't push the innovation envelope in terms of software, but also in terms of hardware. And all this has led to a huge supply chain. Now, shipping software is not a problem. Fixing bugs, yes, it is challenging, but it's fundamentally different to shipping products. So our supply chain in numbers today is we ship to about 30,000 locations. We serve about 122 countries, and we manufacture and ship 200 million units, all in a span of few years. This is no small feast. Whereas for a company like ABB and Schindler, well, they understand the supply chain. They've been doing it for years, but we took the software approach to the supply chain. And there are quite a few challenges that we weren't used to, such as pricing and margin pressure. If you want to ship products, well, the margins are tight. The customer's expectations are high. How do you return products when the quality is not good enough? The life cycle of products is 2, 3, 4 years. So how do you deal with that? If you don't have the right kind of information, you're doomed to fail. And the beginnings have been challenging. And here is the commonality that you can see when you work with your customers. We took the software approach to hardware. The manufacturing companies and retail companies are taking their approach and they apply software to it. But if we see this slide, there is a lot of commonalities there. So in 2016, we had data in silos, minimal automation. That was the mentality of, hey, I have some data, let me pull that Excel or PowerPoint. 2017, all of data is in Max, but we can trust it. 2018, BI becomes stable, right? That's at the point where we came to business intelligence, KPIs, reports, dashboards. And I'm sure this phase from 2016, 2018, you see plenty of customers in this stage at the moment. And it's not easy to go from here to there. And then in 2019, we went from descriptive to prescriptive. So we started applying some time series. We started to put a bit of machine learning behind things and try to predict all of the complexity that comes with it. Going all the way to 2020, things changed a lot. We managed to put our data in order. We managed to do a lot of things to go from prescriptive to cognitive and to even apply reinforcement learning in some cases to our supply chain, taking the software approach to supply chain. Now, the way this looks today, it's very different from the SQL servers that we had 5 years ago. Today, it is really our supply chain services consists of Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Lake, HD Insight. So we are talking about very advanced services that are integrated with our suppliers' ERPs, shop floor control system, warehouse management, point of sales, product catalogs. I mean, we could go on and on, but the integration And the ability of running high-scale analytics and having a common data model to rely on has really been a huge success for Microsoft in making sure that the hardware business, not just the software business, runs smoothly as well. Now, I was talking a bit about data. I was talking about the edge and how important it all is. And in the beginning, I mentioned that some of the companies opt to go to first organize the data and then start thinking about custom AI, where some companies just do both at the same time. Well, there is a bit of a curve, but in success cases, what we see is that companies that are very successful in being data driven, they usually start with putting the BI and apps together. So we see Azure Data Services, we see SQL Service, Power Platform. This is really the basic, really the fundamentals of having a strong data estate. SaaS with AI. This is the easiest way to start with AI is out of the box products. And there is quite a bit to shop on the market, quite a few Microsoft third-party solutions that maybe can be procured from our marketplace that are not our own, but merely run on Azure. So there is quite a bit of those. But when we talk about first-party services, we've got Dynamics, we've got Workplace Analytics, Customer Service Insights. This is really out-of-the-box solutions. A bit further up the curve, we've got the AI accelerators. And there, once a company gets to the stage where they're applying cognitive services, bot services, Azure Search, they are a bit ahead of the curve. They are a bit ahead from the majority, and they are doing quite a bit more. So this is more or less the third step. And then the final step, where I argue that Switzerland is super well positioned. I would even argue that maybe besides Israel, Switzerland is the country where there is so much deep tech, where there is so much people per capita who understand custom AI. I would argue besides Israel, it's first or second. So the opportunity for custom AI in Switzerland, it's enormous. And we see quite a few companies who have a very strong competence in data science, deep learning, machine learning, reinforcement learning, like mentioned before, and those who are also very relevant contributors to the open source technology. It is just fantastic to see what is happening, for example, in ETH and EPFL, and some of you on this call today, talking about and working on very advanced topics. So Switzerland is definitely the place to be when it comes to custom AI. But besides companies, or within the context of the companies, it is democratizing AI for every, not just as an organization as a whole, because organization consists just, at the end, it's the individuals that work for an organization that constitute an organization. So for us, it's really how do we bring AI and the strong data platform to all levels. And for technical employees, it's really Microsoft Azure. For business users, it's Dynamics. And for everyday users, it's Microsoft 365. And talking about Microsoft 365, I'm going to hand it over to Steffi now, who is going to talk a bit more about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tine. I will try to take the control. Bear with me. So I think I have it, huh? Great.
I think so.
Yes, good morning, everyone, also from my side. As said in the beginning, I have the pleasure to talk a bit today about Microsoft Viva, but Viva does not just come as Viva. I will also provide you a bit with the background of our strategy in the modern work side. And I think data and AI also plays an important role in the future of the modern workplace. And this is why these topics fit together really, really well. So yes, talking about Microsoft 365, I think many of you might also have seen the latest article in LinkedIn shared by Satya Nadella about hybrid work. And we have also done some research in that area, and I think it's quite interesting to see what happened, especially over the past months and years, and how many changes we had in the way we work. And what you can also learn there is really our thinking about hybrid work. And this is really that we design for people not in the room. So that's the change, right? We want to design for people that are not in the office. Also, as you can see on the picture here. And with the latest developments in Teams, we are turning really this remote experience on its head and really bring participants into the room. So what we want to do, or what is our goal, is really we want to make everyone feel like they are in the room, they are seen, they are heard, and they can participate from anywhere. This also includes some latest features we have announced, for example, raise your hand or live reactions to follow along really well. If you want to learn more about the hybrid work topic, you can also go to the link that is on the slide, or you can see on LinkedIn on Satya Nadella's page what he wrote about it. So, but a bit more background. When we take a closer look on hybrid work, we also see in that study that we have published recently. By the way, it was done in over 30 countries, so it's quite a global piece of work. That 73% of workers say that they want more flexible work, remote options. But at the same time, 67% of employees tell us that they want more in-person collaboration, in-person meetings with the team. So this is quite interesting, right? And this is what we consider as the paradox, the hybrid work paradox, that we have both of these trends actually happening right now. And with that, also our boss said recently, everything becomes more complex, but not less complex in hybrid work. And I think we all have experienced that, right? People will need to be connected from anywhere at any time on any device. And this requires a lot of change for many of the businesses out there to succeed in this world. Also, we have identified 3 dimensions of hybrid work. So all employees have 3 things, like a work site, a work location, work hours. So, and work site and work location does not need to be the same. And this is true for most of us. And here, I think it's important piece is really the people, because the people are in the center, and it all comes back to culture and people. And here, every organization has a unique approach how that is handled, and how people work and how the culture is adapting. And after we learned all of that, right, we also saw during the past months, years, that empowering people for remote and hybrid work requires more than what we have done before. So many people, I think also many of you might have experienced that, struggled with the work-life balance in the home office, burnout, reduced well-being. As many organizations struggled with that. And here we really saw an urgent need to digitally reimagine this whole employee experience topic. And especially leaders, right? They need to accept that there is the new world of work, and that digital employee experience is really key to succeed. This is basically when we have launched Microsoft Viva. You might probably have heard about it already. And yeah, I think what is important to know here is that this is not a product for itself. It builds on top of Teams. It's integrated in Teams, and it really wants people to find everything they need to do their work to the best extent. And really, we see this as a pair. Teams and Viva deliver a technology platform that empowers the employees to, first of all, bring the best to their job, but also really to connect people, the company, the culture, and also to provide some guidance on well-being and to balance the work with the private life. And Viva, it has 4 modules, so it is not one product. It has 4 parts and connections, insights, learning, and topics. And I will just give you a quick insight for all of these 4, what this is all about. Huh? This is what I will do right now. The first one is Viva Connections. And this is really the connection between all the employees and the company and the mission. So it's like a home page for the company. I sometimes say also in customer events for people to understand. And I think good to know here is really this is allowing you to stay engaged and informed no matter where you are. And it is customized, right? You can customize it for your organization or also for you, personalize it. And it includes relevant news, conversations, announcement in the company events that you need to know. It's also available on the mobile, as you would expect, right? Today, very important. And yes, it provides also a dashboard connecting you to company resources and tools that you can more easily also do things, right, to submit a health check before you go to an office or to book time off, whatever you need there. Right? It can also be customized, by the way, for roles. So it does not have to look the same for everyone. So if there are special roles in a company, you can customize it for these people. Viva Connections is right now available on a desktop, so you can try it if you want. No additional license needed or so. You can just try it out and have a test run with Viva Connections. The second, Viva Insights. And Viva Insights is really here to help you work, not more, but smarter. I think that's the difference, right? And give you tips and insights. And there are 2 parts. For you, for yourself, or for leaders. So this is important to know. This is not exactly the same. So it has also a homepage, Viva Insights, and it includes personalized reminders and helps you prioritize time, for example, for focus work. I do this a lot. I really like it. Or also for coaching time if you're a manager, or also for learning time, right? I will come back to that later. You can also have regular breaks with meditation apps such as Headspace, and virtual commute is also there. For managers, it's a bit different, right? Managers have insight into their team behavior. It helps really to understand and to foster a healthy team, right? How many people work after hour? What do they do after hour? Calls or emails or meetings? Probably online meetings these days, right? And here it really will also provide recommended plans to save these issues. And by the way, there is also the leader insights really for GMs to see a summary across the whole organization. But this is then more high level data than for a team. It's more detailed, I would say. And by the way, these manager leader insights, this was known before as workplace analytics, or is still known. So this will be more or less the same. It's more a rebranding, I would say. And this also means it is available already today. And these manager insights that needs an additional license. All of these personal insights for you, you can have that in Teams today. You can add that app to your Teams client, and you can start booking your focus time if you want already today. This does not need any additional Microsoft product. Next, third part of Viva is Viva Learning. Personally, my absolute favorite, I have to say, because I think this is really addressing a huge need we see in many of our customers. So how to really train employees regularly and with really great content. And this is basically the solution for it right in Teams. So Viva Learning. So you can also pin it as an app in Teams. And this has not only Microsoft content, right? You can add your own content there if you have your own. You can add learning management systems. You can add third-party content providers, or as I said, Microsoft or LinkedIn Learning content, whatever you're interested for. And you can find it directly in Teams, and you can just search, as in Google, for your learning content. And you can also see courses that have been assigned to you. And this is quite a powerful tool for managers, because you can decide, here you can see on the slide, you can see, and you can assign as a manager courses to your team, and you can decide who needs to take what training. And obviously you also have a dashboard where you can check the status of the trainings. So how many trainings have been completed, who has not yet started, do I need to send a reminder to the team for the learning? I think this is super nice. And you can also, by the way, share through chats or channels a course. You can recommend it to others and tell them, hey, there is a great course for you. I took it. I recommend to do the same to you. Also quite nice. And here you have to know, it is not yet available, so it is in preview, but as of today, this is not yet launched, this product, and this later in summer will be available for everyone. So work in progress from our side on Viva Learning. And then the last one, last but not least, the one that has a lot of AI in, coming back to what Tina said, right? You might realize that AI is a Microsoft, is a great topic, super important across all the products. So back in the days, it was more on Azure, obviously, but now everywhere AI plays a key role. And on Viva Topics, here we really use AI. We say on the marketing slide to magically connect you to knowledge. Yes. But I think what it does is really it brings together knowledge in a company. And I think this is also a need we see a lot, especially in a bit larger organizations where it's difficult to really know who is doing what and who is working on the same projects as probably I am, or who is an expert for a specific topic. And yes, I think here you don't need to search. This is the news, right? Knowledge will come to you as in your flow of work, and you can click on these topic cards you just saw here, and then you can find all the information around one topic on that topic card, and it brings you to a topic page. And you can find there the relevant people, definitions, and a Q&A powered by Yammer, where you can find questions people have already asked and answers, or you can ask your own question, which will automatically go to the experts on that topic, right? It also creates a topic map that shows you the links between related projects. And this is really helping everyone to share knowledge across the organization. And yeah, this is a nice way to explore knowledge and topics across your company. And Viva Topics is available as of now. We have launched it. I need to say here, the first language that we have and offer is English. So it takes a bit of time to add more languages. Next languages will include German and French, so that's good for Switzerland, right? But as of today, content really needs to be in English, otherwise it won't work. And also, needless to say, but I say it, right? Everything is cloud-based here. If your data is still on whatever server, obviously this won't work, right? But this is true for the whole Viva product. Yeah. So this is Viva. All the four areas quickly explained. And now you might ask yourself, why would companies invest to that? And first thing I already said, right? Hybrid work is here to stay, and we need to make the experience as good as possible. But also, I think here one of the answers is really to put the employees first. And people are the key to business success. This was also shown in that research I mentioned at the beginning. And I think when we improve really the employee experience and we invest in people, we can directly impact employee engagement, retention, customer satisfaction, and also in the end, a financial success of the company. And especially in Switzerland, where we have not too many people available, great talents available in the market, I think this is key, but probably also in other markets, this might be applicable. So this just as a background, why this is so important. And yeah, for the end, I have another slide, but it's not about pitching it to you or something like that. It's more about a reminder, a friendly reminder to all of us to take breaks, right? Because also in that piece of study we have published, one of the key topics is really the impact of these back-to-back video calls all day long in Teams or Zoom meetings without break, 1 hour to the next hour. And this has really has shown that there is a lot of stress in our brains when we do that. And the good news is already short breaks such as 5 to 10 minutes can really help your brain to recover. And for example, there's also a feature in Outlook that helps. So you can by default have a meeting time of 50 or 55 minutes, and you push that out to the whole organization, for example. Quite nice. So people always have 10 minutes, take a break, stand up, do a stretch, or take a coffee. And yes, I think that's just for all of us to have in mind how important this is and what is the impact on the productivity if you take a break or not. So this just to finish it off. And also to close the session from us today, you might know that a few weeks or days, no, it's weeks ago, we had our developer conferences built. And there we have also announced for Teams a lot of great news. So there is a blog post I can recommend to you. And there are some highlights for Teams developer features. So, you know, Teams is more or less really an open platform and we want to build on it. And for example, there is nice things such as also a developer toolkit for Visual Studio in preview and a lot more coming up around Teams. Yes, and with that, we are at the end of our early morning session here today at the Cloud8 Summit. And yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining. And I think most important, make it to your next session. I think at 9 it is. Yeah, make sure you know where to go at 9. And also, if you have questions that you want to be answered from Microsoft, you can also find us on LinkedIn. Don't hesitate and just write to us, and we will get back to your questions. Huh? Cool. Thanks a lot.
Ja,